Today we're going to talk about Trump's impending indictment and how Republicans are already falling into a trap on it. And I interview former Obama staffer and host of Pod Save America, Tommy Vitor, about Tucker Carlson lying to his audience, DeSantis saying that Ukraine support is not vital, and whether a Trump indictment will make him stronger. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie. So we're on indictment watch here. The first indictment expected to come down would come from the Manhattan DA's office regarding Trump's hush money payouts to Stormy Daniels, among other charges. And of course, Trump decided to get out ahead of this news by taking to Truth Social and posting a number of truths, saying the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. Another post said, they're killing our nation as we sit back and watch. We must save America. Protest, protest, protest. And so the same tactics that led to January 6th are being deployed again while Trump is being investigated for already inciting a riot with almost identical language. And while this was absolutely expected for Trump, the real test was going to be what the rest of his party said, a party that is already contending with concerns that they're too extreme and too dependent on Trump. And they didn't disappoint. Kevin McCarthy tweeted, "Here we go again, an outrageous abuse of power by a radical DA who lets violent criminals walk as he pursues political vengeance against President Trump. I'm directing relevant committees to immediately investigate if federal funds are being used to subvert our democracy by interfering in elections with politically motivated prosecutions." Mike Pence said, "Another politically charged prosecution against former President Trump. People have a right to express the frustration that they feel to see a liberal Manhattan DA poised to indict a former president." It's always amazing to watch Pence defend these Trump mobs, the last of which tried to have him hanged. And of course, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And if they indict President Trump on fake charges to go after him to try to stop the movement that they cannot stop, he is going to win 2024 in a landslide victory, and then we will put him in the White House, and he will finish what he started. We will gut the government of all the traitors that are serving the globalists in America last.
And I listen to these people, and I think to myself, this was your chance, you idiots. This was your chance to be like, well, we love him, and we wish this wasn't the case, but we've got no choice but to just move on now. With the subtext being that this guy is radioactive, toxic waste on a ballot. He was a loser in 2020, a loser in 2022. Republicans shot themselves in the foot by not voting to convict him at the Senate trial and bar him from holding federal office again. Instead, they left themselves with this albatross around their necks. And yet now, down from the heavens, they're given one last lifeline. A gift from the gods up above to finally be rid of Trump by letting the judicial system deal with him. And instead of taking it, they make this the hill that they're going to die on and vow to defend him until their dying breath. I mean, my God, it's like Republicans want to lose. And look, this is not me being so naive to think that Trump is invincible, because very clearly we don't have a President Hillary Clinton to show for it, but we still do have recent history. And we know that Trump led to historic losses in midterms in 2018. He himself lost in 2020. His entire slate of America First candidates running for Secretary of State and governor in all swing states lost in midterms. And that was all before an avalanche of indictments. So this idea that somehow Trump is going to be more popular if the guy is some convicted felon is just like some brainworm take from Steve Bannon world. I think I can go out on a limb here and say that getting indicted for crimes that you committed probably doesn't redound to your party's benefit. So it's going to be pretty amazing to watch Republicans simultaneously make their rally cry that they need to save Trump, while somehow reconciling that with the fact that their biggest weakness is that they rely too much on Trump. If that seems like a doomed effort, yeah, I'd agree. But if that's where Republicans want to plant their flags, then I'll make sure to do my part by letting you know just how far out onto the limb these Republicans are willing to walk for him. Here's a preview of my interview with Tommy Vitor. There's this idea that floating around, I think propped up by someone like Trump himself, that if he gets indicted, that'll only make him stronger.
Yeah.
I personally think that's just a way for him to try and scare prosecutors away from holding him accountable for what he's done, and basically waging threats that if you come after me, you just wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
it's going to be bad. What do you think on this? Does he benefit from an indictment? both in the Republican primary and beyond the Republican primary?
It's a really good question. And you're right that this is Trump's narrative. But remember, David Brooks, the New York Times sort of center-right columnist, wrote this after the Mar-a-Lago raid, too. The FBI just handed the nomination to Trump, right? So, I think the honest answer is who knows? None of us can tell the future. I do think, look, Trump's primary message is grievance and that he's attacked by the deep state or Democrats or whatever. So he'll just fold that into that narrative. I do wonder, though, if he's indicted, if he's going through some sort of criminal proceeding, that's got to get in the back of some voters' heads when they think about his electability. It can't help.
It'd probably not be great for electability if you're running from jail.
Yeah, I mean, right? So it's not going to stop him, but it certainly might undercut his argument for how he could beat Joe Biden.
Well, with that said, I mean, I guess there's also the question of whether Trump becomes so toxic that his election is basically, it becomes clear that it's not going to happen. Like if he does get invited, if he's indicted, if he is sentenced to prison time in either Fulton County, in the Manhattan DA's case, in the January 6th DOJ investigation, special counsel investigation, do you think that there is a moment where Donald Trump relinquishes his desire to be president and kind of throws his weight behind somebody, or do you think that we would more likely watch him campaign for Bernie Sanders than for Ron DeSantis?
I mean, honestly, that's the smartest idea I've heard in a long time. If you were to be listen, Ron, I got your back. You just have to promise to pardon me no matter what. That's a pretty good play. But, if I were Ron DeSantis or anybody else running against Trump, my message would be, listen, we all love Donald Trump. We love what he did for this country. We love that he owned the libs. But all that baggage is why he lost to Joe Biden. All that baggage is why we lost the Senate. It's why we lost in Georgia. It's why we lost in Pennsylvania. I bring you all the things you like without that baggage. If you want to win again, vote for me.
I know we're playing with fire here, but is there any part of you that's okay, Donald Trump is more toxic than someone like Ron DeSantis, and so it'd be, I guess, to our benefit, because it's going to be one of them. I mean, we may be wrong on that, but it's most likely going to be either Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis as the Republican nominee in 2024. We can sit here and say Donald Trump has not only the baggage that caused him to lose in 2020 and his candidates to lose in 2022, but now he has all this legal exposure for which he's probably going to be indicted any day now. So do you think that he is a better person to have on the ticket because of those issues, or is it still it's to our own detriment that we would sit here and try in any way to prop up someone like Donald Trump, who already showed that he could beat someone like Hillary Clinton in 2016?
Yeah, I mean, I could argue it both ways. I mean, big picture, I think Donald Trump is a unique threat to the democracy itself, right? Yeah. So I would never sort of want him on the ticket.
So what you're saying is that you support Ron DeSantis for president?
but just putting my political hat on. I mean, I think who in this country has not formed an opinion of Donald Trump at this point, right? I mean, his support is pretty hardened. His opposition is pretty hardened. I think ultimately the challenge of the elections is 100,000 votes sprinkled across 3 states deliver you the presidency or make you a loser. So, anyone can win. With DeSantis, he is unknown. He's seen his fresh face, but also he might be terrible at campaigning. We just don't know yet. He might have some fatal flaw we haven't learned about. I mean, Trump's already calling him a groomer of high school girls. Who knows where this is going to go?
Yeah. And it's interesting, too. I mean, he had that one moment against Charlie Crist in the debate where he completely froze up because Charlie Crist landed this huge gotcha of asking him if he's going to serve out his term. So if that was enough, to completely catch Ron DeSantis off guard, to make him freeze like a deer in headlights on the debate stage, what's going to happen when Donald Trump starts calling him a pedophile?
I know.
To check out the full interview with Tommy, click the thumbnail right here on the screen, or check out the interviews playlist on my YouTube channel. And to continue to see more of my content, make sure to subscribe. That link is also right here on this screen.